welcome to Hudson Valley Knits. I am Amy, your host of the Hudson Valley Knits podcast, and today is Sunday, May 22nd. I am at Steamboat Dock in Verplanck, New York, which is where I live, and it is the most gorgeous, perfect day for podcasting outside. The water is calm. There's no strong winds to muffle the sound, and very surprisingly, there's no one here. Like usually if I come down to this particular park on a nice day, there's people walking their dogs, kids playing, people fishing. There's nobody here today, so I kind of feel like I have my privacy. But anyway, I have so much to show you and so much to talk about. Lots of exciting things, including a new knit along, which I will have a prize for. I just haven't decided what it will be. So stay tuned for the end to find out about the new knit along. Oops, sorry, I dropped my water bottle. So did I mention it's episode 64? Episode 64. All right, let's start showing some whips. I got a little bit of knitting done on my Lajefa, however she pronounced it, I'm not sure, sweater. I'm still on the sleeve. This is a pattern by Lauren Elkin. I am knitting it out of Spirit Trail Fiberworks Nona with beads. That kind of thinking if I had to redo, I would do it with like a little more of a contrasting bead, like not so much one that matched, because you could see they almost match the yarn exactly. So besides adding a little sparkle, they really don't show up much. But lesson learned. I love this pattern. It kept me occupied while I was waiting to begin my own design. With the Shirley Patton design along. And I usually just work on it if I'm watching TV at my desk, because I can lay my beads out. And again, Spirit Trail Nona in the bunting colorway. I have 3 skeins of this in my stash, which is very cool. Get to use up some stash and get a beautiful sweater. Next, Lazy Days of Summer shawl got very little attention, but I'm still considering it a working project. And oh, it's such a beautiful color. You can see a little more of the blues and greens in it now. And you know what? I don't have a marker in it. Maybe I'll start putting a marker in it so you can see how far I've gotten. But basically all I do now is just repeat until it's as long as I want it. And let's see how much yarn. A nice amount of yarn left still. So this is coming along slowly, and it's supposed to be a lazy summer knit, so that's fine. And you can get the pattern for free if you use her yarn, and all she asks is that you show her a picture of the yarn that you're going to use. It would have to be Merino Cloud and her silken sequins, and then she'll send you all the pattern, all the clues for free, and the last clue is just a repeatable one until you're done. So it's really easy, it's really beautiful. I love art yarns. I love her patterns, so I highly recommend. It is in my little Skein in the Big Woods bag. This is one of like the first bags I got from her. And I forgot to mention that I'm knitting it on my US 4.5, oh not US 7 4.5 millimeter signature needles. And let's see. The Lajefa is currently in my Jan Smiley bag, my Queen Anne's Lace, which is one of my favorite bags, along with this one. These are my only Jan Smiley bags, but I'd love to get in a couple more bags, a bigger bag of hers. I forgot to mention, this is being knit on Haya size US 6 4 millimeters. my highest or my favorite overall, if you consider price as part of the equation. I'm going to show you my socks now. Almost done. This pair of socks is Hermione's Everyday Socks, and I'm knitting it with a newly discovered indie dyer that I just discovered. Never enough time. I love her dye job. This is the colorway Dahlia. Here it is caked up. So, I just love these colors, and this came with a contrasting heel and cuff. I didn't use it on the toe. I wasn't sure if I would have enough for it, and I have more than enough. So here's the first one finished. I love the Hermione's, the way it adds some interest to the color. And here is the second one. I'm almost done. I'm like about halfway through the foot. Love it, love it. I did a partridge heel just to do something different with a regular gusset. There's all the Canadian geese, look. You see them? Sorry. I love it down here. It's so peaceful, so beautiful. Yeah, so I did a heel flap and gusset, not my usual fish lips kiss heel. Yeah, but I am just loving this, and I should be done soon. My next pair is going to be a Hunter Hammerson pattern. Hopefully by next week, or next time I podcast, which would probably be next weekend's Memorial Day weekend, right? So the first weekend of June. Then I'll probably have these as an FO and the next pair on the needles, hopefully. So the last whip, finally, drum roll, I have started my design for the Shirley Patton design along, which will be my Rhinebeck sweater. This, I haven't named the pattern. It's not for long in my Knit Spin Farm bag, only because it's my biggest bag I have, but it's not going to fit in here for much longer. So let me show it to you, and then I'll go into some of the details. First of all, I roll it up and I tie it together with my bandana because it's just so big. And actually, because, well, I'll explain it when I show it to you. I'm sorry if this looks weird. Does it? I don't care. When I show it to you, I'll explain what I'm doing. So originally I had proposed to do this design in the round, which is how I would love to knit any sweater, but I wanted something with some color work. I love color work. I wanted something with texture, and I wanted something that reminded me of a sweater that my grandma had knit me when I was younger, which was made with a very thick and rugged outdoorsy yarn, and I loved it, and it had big pockets. So that's kind of how I presented it. And then I thought, to make it really neat, I would put a cable panel up the center. And I've showed you the sketches I did. I forgot to bring them. They're in the car actually. But when I proposed to do it in the round, Shirley kind of commented back that, you know, if you have so many different row gauges that you're going to have to knit this sweater in sections, and otherwise you will get puckers and it won't line up right and it will look really bad, because my row gauge for the cables was much tighter than my row gauge for the double moss stitch. So without further ado, here's what it looks like now. This is the front. I did all this color work flat. Yes, you heard me right. I did it flat. I knit it back and forth. I can purl, I can do stranded knitting in the purl rows without a problem. It's just not as quick as the doing it in the round. It's not a big deal, but what was making it like a pain for me was, let me push this down a little, was that was using metal needles. I was using my Hayas, and the stitches were slipping off. And I'm still using the actually I think I have, yeah, I'm still using the Haya because that's what I did my swatch in. And if I switch to a wooden needle now, my gauge will not be the same, and that will mess up my measurements. So here's the front. I knit back and forth, okay? Then I got to the part where I'm gonna start the body, or the two sides of the pocket. There's a kangaroo pocket here, by the way, so you can kind of see it. Here's the top, and here's the back of the pocket. Let me turn it around. Here's the back of the pocket. I knit that separately, and then there's the back of the color work. I knit that separately, and then I knit the two panels together by doing knit two togethers in the top here, and you can hardly tell. All right, and so that I'm very pleased with. Then what I did on the sides here in the back is I started knitting in the moss stitch that the body will be in, so that when I picked this, here's the side that I started. When I picked this up, here's the pocket, right? I just kind of continued knitting on the stitches that had been attached to the pocket. Does that make sense? Right, so now I'm going to continue to knit all the way up to the armhole, where I'll do my armhole decreases, and then knit up to the shoulder. And then I'll pick up and I'll do the same thing on this side with moss stitch. Right? And then I'm going to pick up these stitches and do the cable center panel. And then I'm going to sew them all together. Now the back, I was thinking about doing the back in the, going all the way around with the color work. But really I just wanted the back to be plain. Moss stitch with just a little bit of a ribbing. And that's what it's going to be. So that's the story with this. Now, it's going quick because it's a bulky weight. It's Harrisville Designs Turbine. It's great bulky wool. It's a little rough. It softens up when you wash it, but I would say it's better for an outer garment sweater, so to wear over a top of clothes, and that's why it has so much ease. It's made for 6 inches of ease at the top, at the bottom, and then when I got to the natural waist, I decreased it to 4 inches of ease, so that it's just a little more fitted at the top and not like bulky under the arms, right? And so far so good. I'm really enjoying it. I have to admit I didn't enjoy the colorwork part as much because of the metal needles and the stitches being so slippery on the metal needles. But that aside, I am just so excited. So, wow, the tide's coming in. I'm sorry for the noise. So yeah, this, finally, you're gonna see this go fast too, because like I said, the bulky weight knitting goes really fast. And once I'm done with this cable panel, the back's going to be super quick, the back of the sleeves. And it's going to have like a cowl-like neck. Alright, those are all my whips. But this sweater will be getting most of the attention until it's done. Because I'm that excited about it. Wow. Sorry, the water, look at, see the waves coming in? Sometimes that happens when a barge goes by, but there's no barge. Take this out. I did do a little bit of spinning, and I'll show you my spindle spinning. It's the same stuff. It doesn't look any different to me, but I haven't shown it in a while. I'm still working on my fondant fiber buzzlings. Here it is. I've got purples and blues. And believe it or not, I did get it quite a bit done. This is how much I have left for this particular fuzzling. It's just a little bit. Let's see, I'll take it out. Oh, it's quieting down. A little bit of silver and purple left. So I'm just taking my time with this. There's no hurry. It sits by my desk, and every once in a while I pick it up, right? So that is that. By the way, I also did some spinning on my Ashford Traveler, and I left it at home. So I will put a picture right here. That's my signal. So contest remind. Well, actually, let me show you. I got a lot of new yarn this week. I went a little binge crazy on sock yarn. I told you I just discovered Never Enough Time. Well, I saw another color on her Etsy shop that I fell in love with. This one in particular called Briar Rose. I love pinks and greens together. So this will be a pair of socks soon. I told you I'm going to do the Hunter Hammerson one next. And, but I just love this. Never Enough Time. And then I also picked up, because she had a Mother's Day coupon. That's what it was. She had a Mother's Day coupon for, I think, 15% off. And this is the Wildflower colorway. There, that's better. It's beautiful colors, huh? So that's that. And then I also ordered... Miss Babs came back from Maryland Sheep and Wool, or left for Maryland Sheep and Wool, and I felt left out. So I bought one of her gradients in the eucalyptus colorway, which I fell in love with. I love pinks and soft colors like this. They're not really pastel, they're more kind of like a muted or matte neutrals with just a hair of color, and then the pink. Then I also brought this, and I forget... I know I had something in mind for this beautiful orange color, which is called French Marigold. It's a gorgeous orange. That's it right there. I couldn't have thought it would look good with this, but maybe I did think that. I don't know. I'll figure out something. And then I didn't bring, but I did order yarn for my niece's daughters, which I'll get back to later. But two of my nieces, I'm going to be knitting their daughters' sweaters, a size 4T and a size 5T or 5. And to get the 20% Webs discount, I ordered this nice neutral charcoal gray skein of Shalimar yarns, or it is a superwash merino cashmere silk blend, and it's going to be like a neutral or neutral color for some shawls with some nice popping colors eventually. And contest reminder. So I have for the next podcast, I'm going to draw for this. So there's a thread on my Ravelry group, Hudson Valley Knits, where you could win this skein if you just go to Colorworks by Debbie website, which there's also a link, and tell me what colors you like. She is blending her own colors. She has cones of singles, which cotton, merino, and tencel, and she'll blend any colors together that you like. And she's not twisting them, she's just kind of caking them up together. And you can get your wheel out and you can ply them if you like, or you could just knit them together like this. And that is it to show you. I do have a new knit along to talk about. So if you've watched my past podcast, you know that I'm working on a design that is called The Awakening KAL, and it is currently done with the tech editing and now with the test knitter, and I anticipate releasing it very, very soon. Here is the picture of the KAL, just to remind you what it looks like. It uses 6 colors. I use Jameson, Spindrift, and what I'm going to do, this is a great pattern if you've never tried Fair Isle knitting. This is a great pattern to knit your first Fair Isle project. It has a steek, and it can be done in many different colorways. Here's another color version, right? And it goes pretty quick. So what I'm going to do is I'm anticipating around July 1st, to give people enough time for me to get the pattern out, which should be within the next week or two, and then you all to get some yarn. Here's another colorway. Oh, no, that's not the one. Here's another colorway I did. So what I'm going to do on a thread called the Awakening KAL Knit Along is I'm going to list the Jameson colors that I came up with for this pattern. I had 3 different versions that I bought the yarn for, and I kind of put these colors together myself. And you can either order the same yarn, whichever one you like, or you can use whatever fingering weight yarn you like. There's lots of other Shetland wool that's available. You could use Knit Picks palette. There's just so many choices out there. If you want to use your own stash, that's fine too. If you use a yarn that's not grabby, don't use a yarn with silk. Make sure it's 100% wool. I don't recommend a superwash wool because they will stretch as well. So I would make sure it's 100% wool. You can have nylon in there if you want, that's fine, but no silk, no bamboo, nothing like that. Just preferably 100% non-superwash wool, because you are going to be doing a steek, and the steeks will not hold if you have a slippery yarn, especially like with silk or something in it. So that's my recommendation. Start thinking about that. I will put the thread up with the colors listed, and you can choose whatever colors you want. And I just really hope a lot of people join in. I'll be knitting one up myself. I've knit 2 already that you saw, but I'm going to knit one up in the 3rd colorway, the only colorway I haven't knit yet, and we'll do it together. So we'll cast on together, and we'll do the band together, the ribbon. And I'll show you what the tips I learned by knitting it myself on how to do a nice loose band, how to do it with 2 colors even though it's a single color, how to cast on the steek stitches before you start the color work section, how to check for gauge. We'll go through all the steps together. There is a book called 400 Stitch Motifs by Mary J. Mucklestone, and that's where I got the actual stitch pattern from, and the colors I actually chose myself. And anyway, it will be a free pattern. It is tech edited, it is test knit, so hopefully there will not be any issues with it. And I just really want a lot of people to discover Fair Isle knitting, because to me it's so much fun and it's so beautiful, and I love all the different colors that are involved in it. So please spread the word and start thinking about what colors you want. So that's going to be the summer knitting knit along. I'm really excited about it, and I bet we'll finish in like 4 or 5 weeks. That's plenty of time to do this KAL. So without further ado, I will say goodbye. Thank you all for joining me, and I will see you in a couple of weeks. Bye-bye.